You saw the title of this video. This video is going to be for people who are wanting to get into solo hiking and want to know the things that I do to make sure that I stay safe, I enjoy it. If I'm honest, it sounds really bad to say, but I kind of prefer solo hiking than hiking in the group. I think a lot of it is just due to I can choose the pace and where I want to go, how I want to do it. And I like the silence elements of it. I like not having to talk, not having to speak, not having to do all of those sorts of things. The reason why I personally solo hike is one, because I know I'm available, so I'm going to go and do it. Two, I've had really terrible experiences, like near-death experiences. One recent one that is going to probably take me 6 months to fully recover from. So for me, in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I go in a group and I pretty much nearly die if I put my life in these people's hands, or I put my life in my own hands, and at least if things go left, I can just say it's on me. If you are someone that's interested in solo hiking, I personally wouldn't recommend immediately going to a super remote place, doing extreme terrains and all of that. When I look back at my own solo hiking journey, I actually started off with going to spots that were not too far out of London, so maybe like 30 minutes away, then it was an hour away, then it was 2 hours away, then you get the gist. Places that you go a few times that are nearby, you're somewhat familiar with the area. You're somewhat familiar with the area, and it's also not too remote. If you are someone that is based in London, I definitely recommend, if you're starting to do solo hiking, go to the North Downs, which is based in Kent. You can go to Surrey Hills. I would also say Chiltern Hills as well, which is a little bit northwest from London. It's about a 35-40 minute train ride from Euston. Start off in those areas. It's not too far away from civilization, even when you're doing the walks. Next thing I recommend is thinking about the equipment and things that you want to bring when you're solo hiking. I really do not recommend, if you're planning to go on solo hikes, that you don't bring a first aid kit. Like, you definitely need to bring a first aid kit, definitely need to bring enough snacks, enough water, enough food. You definitely need to bring a power bank, for example. Maybe you want to bring a map and a compass if you're able to know how to navigate with those things. Phone. I definitely don't think, especially as you're going further out from where you might be based, not bringing those things. You do need to bring stuff with you, especially if you're going alone. Speaking of applications to use when you are going and you're doing solo hikes, I personally like using AllTrails. A lot of other people like using OS Maps. AllTrails is also great because if you are on the premium version, so you can get a trial, you can download your route and you can share your live route so people can know exactly where you are when you're doing that, kind of leading on to the whole GPS tracking of it all. There's WhatsApp, there's Facebook, there's so many different apps that you can share your location with. Some people bring an air tag. There needs to be something for people to know your whereabouts throughout the whole time that you're doing your solo hike. Now, it's really important, even before you leave, to know the route that you're going to do. For me, when I did it, I didn't just show up and start the hike. I actually planned my route beforehand. So I would use things like the AllTrails app. Some people use the OS app. There are different apps that you can use to plan out your route beforehand. You can use a map and a compass if you're like that pro with it. Of course, you're going to feel nervous solo hiking and you also don't know where you're going. So for me, this is something I still do to this day. I always know the route. I could freestyle it kind of when I'm there. Maybe I go a little bit more to the left than the right or north, whatever. But before I leave, I know kind of the radius and the area that I'll be in. And then I'll share that with my family, friends, sort of whoever. Now, once you know the route that you're going to do, this kind of leads to the next thing. How are you going to make sure that people can track and know your whereabouts when you are going on these amazing adventures, solo hiking outdoors? Now, for me, the AllTrails app was pretty good with that because I planned out my route and then I shared the route with the people that needed to know. And I was able to share my live location and it was able to track and time how long I should be taking. And if I was taking longer than I would usually, then the people who were tracking or had the link to my shared location, they would get notified. The AllTrails app will work if your phone is able to have service. If your phone does not have service, then people cannot track you. So you have to kind of think, what else can you kind of use if you're in a place where you don't have service? For myself, as I was doing more and more hiking, I used something called the Garmin inReach Mini 2. It's not very cheap. I only would recommend purchasing it if you're someone that, if you hike a lot, I would say. And the Garmin inReach Mini 2 is just a really good way to track your location, even if you're offline. There's also an SOS button on the side that you can click. So if something were to happen to you, mountain rescue, whatever the emergency services, whatever it is, can track you. Also on the Garmin inReach Mini app, it can track your route and you can share it live time with family, friends, whoever. And if you go offline, it does a pretty good job of showing your route as well. It's so good that I used it when I was hiking Kilimanjaro, and it was able to track my whole entire route the whole entire way on the Garmin inReach Mini 2. I was also able to message people. So if you don't have service on your phone, I use the Garmin inReach Mini 2. I was able to message people on Kilimanjaro. There are additional fees to that. So even though you purchase the Garmin inReach Mini 2, you have to pay a monthly fee. And then if you're going, my one didn't include the international, so I was international when I was doing it. So even though I was able to communicate to people, it ended up costing £50 for the amount of back and forth I was doing. But because I genuinely was really concerned for my welfare, I do not regret paying the £50 for those 4 or 5 days. However, I'm not currently doing a lot of remote hiking, so I paused my subscription, and it's very smooth and easy to do that. I only pay if I know I'm going to be doing a lot of remote hiking. If I'm not, then I pause it. In terms of also letting people know your location, I think it's really important if you're solo hiking to make sure you have an emergency routine and procedure. It's little things like knowing, how do you contact mountain rescue? What do you do to get help? If you are someone that's based in the UK, if you dial 999 and you request mountain rescue, then you'll get into contact with mountain rescue. Second thing is who you're telling about your whereabouts. So for me, whenever I'm going on solo hikes or solo whatever, I always tell at least 3 people. Why? There's a little bit of a story time. So I went to go and hike in the Peak District. Everything was going smooth sailing until I realized with these 2 other ladies, there was someone that had hypothermia, did not realize, and therefore we had to stop what we were doing and wait for mountain rescue. I told 3 people, no, I shared 3 people the route and location of where I was and the hikes. Out of the 3, 1 realized something was up because it seemed like I was taking longer than usual and they hadn't heard from me. And so usually and I don't want to go into too much detail, but there is a cadence in which I notify people if I'm okay. And as soon as that cadence stops, it told one of my friends, oh, something's really weird. And she called and she realized everything was fine. So it's really important that you don't just tell 1. I think you should tell at least 3 people, because 1 of the 3 are going to probably clock that there's something wrong. And when you are contacting these 3 people, have a cadence in which you update them. Maybe yours is every hour, maybe it's every half an hour, maybe it's every kilometer, 2 kilometers. There needs to be a cadence in which you're updating them that everything's okay. So as soon as it goes silent, then there's cause for concern. Maybe something happens and someone takes your phone or your Garmin and they're going to text them. Have a code name or a word or a phrase. So those 3 people, you can tell more, but those 3 people know if they get that message from me, then something's very wrong. It sounds dramatic, but you just do not know. Next thing is safety equipment. Now, this is something I'm really open to hear thoughts about, because I've been told by some people they bring pocket knives. I'm just very aware of the optics. I don't know, I just feel like a Black woman with a pocket knife, I just feel like it's going to end up with me in jail. So I don't bring a pocket knife. So some people might bring pocket knives. I'm not saying to bring it. I don't. In the UK, pepper spray is illegal. So you can't bring any of that stuff. So what do I do physically to make sure that I'm safe? Can I be completely honest with you guys? The only thing I have is a spray bottle that stains the person really, really badly if they're going to attack me, and I have it on hand to spray in their eyes. But beyond that, I really don't have anything, and I really should have things. So if you have any advice on what kind of things I should have on me if someone's going to attack me, please let me know. I've personally, and fortunately enough, have not been in a situation, knock on wood, where my safety's been compromised in a sense of someone's trying to attack me or anything like that. But it doesn't mean I shouldn't really be prepared. So the only thing I have is that spray thing that will spray in that person's eyes and kind of get them a bit disoriented. And then from TikTok, knowing how to attack. But beyond that, I don't really have anything. So I welcome feedback on this element, because I feel like there should be more I could do to keep myself safe. Hopefully that really helps, because for me, I love solo hiking, and I'm based in the UK and I've found it particularly fine so far. Nothing bad has happened, it's only been when I've been in a group. And I really hope these tips and tricks and advice really helps you all. And please comment down below what are things that you feel people who want to get into solo hiking should know.